Ever look at a lush, dense jungle and think, how on earth does this chaotic tangle of life actually survive? Well, spoiler alert, it is not chaos at all. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to crack open the hidden mechanics of the tropical rainforest. It's actually a highly tuned, totally interdependent system, where every single drop of rain, every falling leaf, and every animal plays a absolutely critical role. By the end of this, you're going to see the rainforest not just as a collection of trees, but as one living, breathing, massive recycling engine.
Here's our roadmap for the explainer. We're going to hit 1. The rainforest climate engine. 2. Flora and fauna connections. 3. The nutrient recycling machine. 4. Indigenous life with the Yanomami tribe. And finally, 5. The shifting cultivation cycle. Let's jump in.
Section 1. The rainforest climate engine. To really get how this all works, we've got to start with the harsh, intense rules of the game. And those rules are set by a massive weather system called the Inter-Tropical Convergence Zone, or ITZ. This system literally sets the stage for everything that lives here. We're talking about a staggering 2,000 millimeters of annual convection rainfall. To put that into perspective for a second, that is 2 whole meters of water just dumping from the sky every single year. So naturally, everything living here needs massive amounts of water to survive, but it also has to figure out how not to completely drown in it.
Now take all that incredible volume of water and mix it with an average daily temperature of 27 degrees Celsius every single day. There is absolutely no frost here, ever. You've got this relentless hot and wet environment that acts as the primary driver for an engine. It's basically a giant global sauna running 24/7, creating these perfect, non-stop growing conditions.
But here is the really wild part. The forest actually creates its own weather system. It's through a process called evapotranspiration. Basically, the trees act like giant water pumps. They suck up that heavy rain and sweat it right back out into the air. In fact, an incredible 75% of the rain falling on the forest is returned to the atmosphere as water vapor. It cools, condenses, and falls right back down as more convection rain. The forest is literally watering itself. How cool is that? Section 2. Flora and fauna connections. So let's see how life has actually managed to adapt and survive in this extreme, intensely wet sauna we just talked about. With 2 meters of rain pouring down, plants absolutely must adapt or they die. It's that simple. You've got emergent trees shooting up 50 meters into the sky, blasting right past the 30-meter canopy, just desperate to catch that intense equatorial sunlight for rapid photosynthesis. But the real magic? It's in the leaves. To survive the deluge, they developed these neat little things called drip tips to funnel water off super fast. Plus, they have glossy, waxy surfaces so the water just slides right off. Without these tricks, the plants would get completely waterlogged and just rot away under the sheer weight of the monsoon rains.
And this sets off an incredible domino effect. The plants adapt to the climate, and in turn, animals step in as vital gears that keep the plant life thriving. That dense canopy vegetation, it provides an essential umbrella, sheltering animals like tigers, tapirs, and monkeys from the blistering heat and driving rain. Meanwhile, herbivores are completely relying on this vegetation for food. You've got hummingbirds pollinating orchids, spider monkeys feasting on fruits, and then dispersing the seeds all over the forest via defecation. It's the ultimate web where absolutely everything is feeding and protecting everything else.
Moving on to Section 3, the nutrient recycling machine. So the canopy above is obviously thriving, but below ground, there is an invisible, absolutely crucial recycling system running in the soil, and it is solving a massive problem you probably wouldn't expect.
Here's the twist. Despite all that lush green growth you see, the rainforest actually has surprisingly poor infertile soils called Latosols. Wait, why? Well, it's a process called leaching. All that heavy convection rain we talked about earlier literally washes the essential nutrients straight down, deep through the soil, way out of reach of the plant roots.
To beat this constant leaching, the ecosystem runs a lightning-fast 4-step recycling engine. Step 1, dead leaves fall and build up a thick litter on the ground. Step 2, because it's a soaking wet 27 degrees, bacteria and fungi break this down almost instantly. Step 3, this pumps vital nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium straight into a super thin 50 centimeter deep humus layer. And finally, Step 4, before the heavy rain can wash those nutrients away, dense, shallow root networks to snatch them right back up. So get this, the biggest store of nutrients isn't actually deep in the dirt at all. It's locked up inside the living plants and trees themselves.
Section 4, Indigenous Life, the Yanomami. Now let's bring the human element into the mix, looking at indigenous tribes who've managed to live within this incredibly complex system for tens of thousands of years without destroying it.
Meet the Yanomami tribe. They are a semi-nomadic indigenous people living deep in the Amazon rainforest. Yes, they are hunter-gatherers, but the really important thing here is that they survive by deeply understanding and working with the engine of the rainforest, rather than trying to fight against it.
The Yanomami rely directly on this web of life for their day-to-day survival. They gather nuts and medicinal plants, they hunt, they catch fish in the local rivers for lunch, and they even know exactly which vines to slice open for a drink of fresh water straight from the plant. Honestly, they are just as much a natural part of the rainforest fauna as the spider monkey or the hummingbird.
Which brings us to Section 5, the shifting cultivation cycle. See, the Yanomami don't just hunt and gather, they also farm. And because the soil is so notoriously poor due to that leaching we discussed, they've perfected a farming method that perfectly mimics the forest's own recycling rules.
It's a brilliant 5-step process called shifting cultivation, and it's basically a masterclass in adapting to rapid nutrient loss. First, they find an untouched area of the forest. Then, they use a slash and burn technique. Burning the vegetation creates ash, which acts like an instant, powerful fertilizer, dumping essential minerals directly into that thin humus layer. This lets them plant crops like manioc, sweet potatoes, and yams. But because of the heavy rain, leaching inevitably kicks in. After just 2 or 3 years, the soil loses its fertility and the crops start to fail. So what do? Step 5. They simply shift to a new plot of land, leaving the old one entirely alone. Now, the reason shifting cultivation is actually sustainable is all about recovery. The Yanomami aren't permanently clear-cutting the forest. By constantly moving every few years, they give the fragile ecosystem they just left up to 50 years to completely recover. The canopy grows back, the leaf litter piles up, and the nutrient cycle heals itself. It is this perfect, delicate harmony of human activity and natural recovery.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with something to chew on. We've just seen how 2,000 millimeters of rain, plants with specialized drip tips, animals dispersing seeds, shallow roots fighting off leaching, and the Yanomami moving through the trees are all perfectly locked into this one massive interdependent cycle. Every single gear turns another. So what happens to this entire magnificent machine when just one of those links is broken by outside exploitation? If we clear-cut too much or shift the climate, the whole engine stalls. Understanding this incredible web of life is the very first step in making sure we don't break it. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep exploring.